Hello, welcome to CH Booth Library's Book Chat. I'm Anne. I'm here with Catherine and Amy to talk about some great picks for summer reading. So everyone has a different idea of what makes a good summer read. For me, it's not actually the best time for me to do a lot of reading in the summer. I'm usually outside, working in my garden or, on a hike or something. But of course, I always have a book or two going. And I find that for me, nonfiction titles make a good summer reading because they're often discrete sections that are easy to pick up and put down without getting, too involved. A great example of this is the Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. And he's the well-known YA author and YouTuber, and this book is a series of essays. Some are taken from his podcast of the same name, and some are newly written for the book. And Green examines things from the age of humans and rates them on a scale of 0 to 5 stars. So the book is written with his unique combination of nerdy intellectualism and humor. So kind of like a history lesson and pop culture commentary mashed together. And I also found many of the pieces are really kind of moving and as well as informative and entertaining. So some of the topics discussed and rated are really broad categories like the cave paintings at Lascaux or Diet Dr. Pepper, Super Mario Kart video game, and the song Auld Lang Syne. So that gives you an idea of all the kind of different things that he talks about. And I listened to this on Libby. It's read by the author, so which makes it just really great. And each review was around 10 to 15 minutes. So perfect time when you have just a little bit of time and you want to listen to or read something. So I had to return it for the next person who had to hold on it. So I'm looking forward to getting it back, either the audio or the book, and just getting through all the essays. So. And I know a lot of people like to look for paperbacks for the summer. And we have an entire section, our recommended reads collection. In this, most of them are in paperback, very portable for traveling. And there's a lot of nonfiction titles that people don't think to look over there. So if nonfiction is your thing as well, we've got all kinds of titles in recommended reads. Maybe you're going to take a trip with your family. We have books about family stories, people who find out their family's not what they thought it was, people who, learn a little bit about their parents as they age. And there's books that deal with topics from history, Radium Girls about women working in factory, World War I era, and what happens to them from their working conditions. More current things, 1970s Northern Ireland, Say Nothing. That was a great book. And topical things like anti-racism books we have. And not every book in the recommended reads is paperback. We do have some hardcovers that are newer, and we didn't want to wait till they came out in paperback to get a bunch of copies for people. So you definitely want to take a look over there for your summer reading. And that's my nonfiction pick. The Anthropocene.
I'm just going to jump in there for a minute. Yeah, it's a great, recommended reads is a great place to go because any of the big books you've heard about in the last year or two, that's where you can find multiple copies. So if a big book came out and you just didn't get around to it when it was being talked about everywhere, that's where you can head and you'll see all the big books of the last couple of years.
Right. Yep.
All right. So I'm going to switch gears and talk about YA stuff because I'm the YA librarian. I know we have middle schoolers and high schoolers at home. They might have to do summer reading for school, or their parents just want them to read over the summer. It's really important that you read over the summer. And so what I always recommend is the Nutmeg book nominees. And we luckily have a fresh batch, the 2022 nominees. So this first one I'm going to talk about is called The First Rule of Punk by Celia C. Perez, and this is a nominee in the middle school category. And I just thought this was a really fun book. It's about a girl named Malu, who is, it starts on her first day of middle school. So if you're starting middle school in the fall, this would probably be a great choice for you. So she kind of starts off middle school on the wrong foot. She upsets a popular girl and she gets in trouble because of the dress code, because she likes to dress kind of like punk rock. She loves punk rock. You can probably tell from the title. She likes making zines. So she's a really unique, creative person. And what's really fun about this is there's like little like excerpts from her zine throughout the book. So if you like illustrations, it's kind of cool stuff. If you like the book Moxie, which has like similar themes about zines and stuff like that, this would be a good choice. And so like she kind of like, it goes through like her middle school experience and she decides to start a band. And so like basically it's just a fun story about she decides to try, like she has to try to be herself, even though there might be some resistance from her parents or the school administration. And I just thought it was really fun. So that's the first rule of punk.
Hi, my name's Amy and I'm the head of reference, and I agree with Anne. I tend to actually do more reading during the winter because, you know, what else can you do? But I do try to read in the summer, and I do try to concentrate on, you know, the more traditional summer fare. And so my first book is Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutanto. And this is just a real fun madcap comedy of a book. Basically, it starts with Meddy, who is a 20-something photographer who has just joined her family's fairly new wedding business. And their tagline is, "Don't leave your big day to chance, leave it to the Chans." And so it's a great family business because it's her and her mother and her aunts and a couple other older family female relatives. You know, she's the photographer. One of her aunts is the baker. Another one is a dress designer. So they all work together. And it's the night before their biggest wedding ever. And her mother has been concerned because Meddy hasn't dated much since college because she broke up at graduation with the love of her life. So her mother sets her up on a really bad date, ends up with a body in the car. So now they have the biggest day of their lives and they have to like get rid of this corpse. Meddy is totally not to blame for this. And it just is, you know, if you like a book that makes you feel like you're being hugged by all your family members, I really recommend it. And just has all these, you know, if you like those crazy coincidences and just funny banter, Dial A for Aunties is the book for you.
Okay, so my fiction title that I think is great for summer is Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. This made my personal best of the year list when it was published a couple years ago. So I frequently recommend this title to people. It's not in the recommended reads collection, but I think we have more than one copy of it because it was popular. In this book, Lillian is asked by her former college roommate to be a nanny, to come to work for her and her rich husband as a nanny for her two stepchildren while their father runs for public office. The children tend to burst into flame when they get upset, so they need lots of minding and they need to keep this out of the public knowledge. And so it's not a spoiler, you kind of can tell by the cover, this is talked about right from the beginning. So Lillian's kind of a lost soul at this point, and although she doesn't have experience with children, she comes to really care for these kids and they develop a good relationship. So, and while the bursting into flames part sounds like a little outlandish for a story, it's really just a plot point in what's really a sweet story about accepting others as they are, you know, accepting yourself and finding your family. And so I would highly recommend that as a good summer read. And again, in the recommended reads collection, we've got tons of fiction there, all popular reads, some lighthearted. We've got something like this, which was really popular, Eleanor Oliphant, Completely Fine, things that are mystery. A lot of things are also are tagged with these celebrity book club because they've been picked. Reese Witherspoon, Jenna Bush picks. There's a lot of historical fiction over there because that's popular with book clubs. Hamnet just came out in paperback. I was really excited about that because this was one of my favorite books of the year. Things that take place in different locations. Here, Disappearing Earth, it's set in the Far East Russia. This was another favorite of mine. And not everything is new. There's books that have, been out for a few years, but have remained popular. Americana is one of those, still popular with book clubs. So there's all kinds of things over there. If you go to one of the service desks and ask the staff, I'm sure they can point out all their favorite books from that collection too. So definitely think of that area of the library for your summer reading for fiction.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to talk about another Nutmeg nominee in the high school category, but I also think this is a great crossover pick for adults too. This is probably one of my favorite YA books of the last 2 years, so I was really glad to see it nominated. It's called Sadie by Courtney Summers. So if you like podcasts like Serial, like kind of like murder mystery kind of thing, this would be a great choice. And I also recommend it on audio because the way the book is set up, it's told through, the main character is named Sadie, obviously, and she is a girl whose sister was mysteriously murdered, and then Sadie goes missing. So part of the story is following Sadie as she is like on the road trying to avenge her sister's death, basically get justice for her sister's death. And then the other part of the story is told like narration from a podcast that is trying to solve the mystery of like where Sadie went and like trying to solve the mystery of the murder. So it's really interesting, really intriguing, a great mystery. It obviously has like some dark themes, but I love the writing. I think Courtney Summers is a great writer. And I think definitely if you're in high school or you're an adult who likes YA or is interested in reading some YA over the summer, this is I highly recommended.
Hi, and my second book is Mexican Gothic. And this is a good book if for one of those days where there's a summer thunderstorm and it's dark out and there's lightning and thunder. This book was by Silvia Moreno Garcia. It takes place in like 1950s Mexico City. And Naomi is like the debutante of Mexico City. She is beloved by her family. She's gorgeous. Men love her. She's witty. Her major problem in her life is she doesn't know what to do with her life because she's actually so good at so many things and she's interested in a lot of things. So she keeps changing her major in college. And she grew up with a cousin who recently married, and she and her father get this very disturbing letter from her cousin. And her cousin lives in a small mining town far away. And so she's very isolated. And the letter makes it sound like she has basically lost it. So her father determines that he is going to send Naomi to check up on her cousin and the new husband and make sure everything is going okay. So she arrives in this very spooky old house that is filled with a lot of all the old silver from the mines, and there's all these graves from all the mine workers who have died. And it's just a very creepy place. And she really likes a couple of the people there, but most of the people there are very disturbing and they truly see her as an outsider and they're suspicious of her, as they should be, because she is there, investigating. And it's a very atmospheric, creepy story. And what I really like about it is, just by its title, Mexican Gothic, you can tell it makes a lot of references to some of the classic British literature. So as you're reading it, you're supposed to be reminded of things like Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights and things like that. And I just, she's a great heroine, and I just really enjoyed the book. And it does get a little weird. So again, that's Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia.
Great. Okay, well, I hope we've given you guys some great ideas for summer reading. Look for the document with this video that'll have links right to our catalog for all these titles, and happy reading. Enter our summer reading contest too, summer reading challenge, yeah.